Is PSO pay to win? The answer is yes. So let's talk about it. Welcome back to your #1 stop for PSO2 New Genesis gameplay, how to, and all that jazz. And as I stated, PSO2 is, well, pay to win. But to what extent is it, and is it extremely good or bad? But before we hop into all that, I do want to give a giant thank you to everybody that is supporting over on Patreon and Twitch for this month. Let's go ahead, let's get into this, and let's have a real discussion about the pay to win inside of New Genesis. So when it comes to how the microtransaction work inside of New Genesis, there is actually a few things to keep in mind here. We do have two currencies with our AC that you can pick up for as low as 99 cents, going of course all the way up to of course $99.99 here. This is the only currency you can actually buy for say, but you can also use that currency to of course get your hand on another currency called Etchy. Etchy is pretty much the currency that you can either buy straight out with real money, or you can get it through many means inside of PSO2 as well as New Genesis. In a lot of ways, a lot easier to come by in bait PSO2. But the thing here, you might be noticing this, it's just like any other free-to-play game. But the difference here when it comes to a PSO here is you are not buying like power in the way of course weapons or upgrades such as you would do in say like Genshin or Tower of Fantasy or any other type of game of that ilk. It is mainly just straight up cosmetics here, with of course for each cosmetic pool you are of course looking at two wheel dollars. When it comes to spinning the AC, you do also have some banners that are tied to Etchy that once again you just had to buy with AC. But the thing is, when it comes to the Etchy stuff, this stuff is not sellable at all. This is only for your character, which is fine and dandy. So you might be wondering, well, exactly does the whole pay to win part come in for New Genesis here, since it seemed like it all cosmetic? The thing about that is, of course, if you buy the banners that are tied to AC, as you can see there are multiple ones happening. Some of these, as you can see here, does straight up just sell upgrade for your weapon. That does make it more powerful. But with that being said, the banner is not around all that often. It only pop up every couple of months, so it don't exactly affect long-term growing power through spending money here. So this is like a little more a gray. But the main issue that come in is of course by buying the other banner for the cosmetic. Because the thing to keep in mind in PSO2 is of course for every $2 you spend to do a single pull, or if you spend $22 to do a 12 pull of the items, not only will you get the items that you can use for yourself, but you can also sell these on the player shop. And as you can probably imagine, when you sell the items on the player shop, you will get the in-game currency that is 100% in-game, cannot be bought otherwise. You will get Meseta. Meseta is the currency you will spend to upgrade your weapon, your armor, or anything of that sort. And as you can probably start gathering here, what you end up doing here is by proxy, or by buying cosmetics, you are then getting access to items that you can put up on the player shop to then sell for currency that does equal a growing in power. Might it be by of course buying weapons, upgrade, armor, whatever you want to do with it, you can. If you want to take that money and go buy a hat from another scratch or buy an item you want, you can do that too. But the biggest thing here is of course by spending money, you are getting in-game money in return, which in return have a whole nother issue about it, and we have seen proof of this in the bait game. Well, inflation have got so out of hand, as you can see here from looking on ship 1, that there is items going for well over $500 million into $1 billion here, and as someone who only have 432 million in return, I could buy a few things. By a few things, I mean about maybe 3 or 4 items, and that about it, and now I'm officially broke. And as you can see how the money inflation can very quickly add up, and did add up in a bait PSO2. That doesn't mean that's gonna technically happen in NGS, because at any point, Sega might put something in to help drain the money out, or maybe close it loophole, or maybe put like a cap on the items that can sell only at certain amounts of Meseta. But as of right now, that haven't happened. And as we get farther and farther into New Genesis, obviously they're going to keep becoming a big issue for players. Especially if you're someone who is playing New Genesis as a 100% free-to-play player. And right now you might be thinking, this is not that big of a deal. Why don't I just put items up on the player shop and sell stuff to make money? Because there'll have to be stuff in the game that will money beyond just the cosmetic scratches. And the answer is technically, because the way the player market work inside of New Genesis is a little funky here, with the shop being not 100%, but mainly for pay players. So what I mean by this is, of course, the player shop is only available in a select few ways. First of all is the obvious answer here, which is, of course, buying a premium for either a 30, 60, or 90 day. This is pretty much, think of it as a subscription for New Genesis, which will give you access to the player shop to sell items for 30 days as long as you are subbed. So there is that. And then another way to do this, because the sub, as you can see, the bell minimum here is a $13 for 30 days, is of course by buying the shop as if without any of the extra items. And of course you can, of course, do so if you want. So you can just buy just the shop pack for $7 a month. And that is the main way you do this. So as you can see, we already have you spending more money to then make any more money here. But you might be a free-to-play player and you think this is horrible and they need to fix it. They kinda did, because at the time of the video anyway, we do have an item you can get your hands on as the free-to-play player, so you can actually sell items on the shop as well. But there was a catch, and it is tied to the mission pass. Lucky enough, this item is on the free version of the mission pass, and the mission pack can be bought with Dodgem, which once again you can get through in-game means or with money, whichever you see fit. But the thing is about this is it is near the end of the mission pack at till 24. So if you are planning on playing a okay amount, then not too bad, because let's be honest, you can pretty much wipe up your mission pass in about 3 weeks by playing 1 to 2 days out of that week. But the thing is here, with of course this being as far into the past as it is, you are looking at not getting your hands on this except for every 2, almost 3 weeks, depending on how much you are playing. And the pass itself is only available for 3 days. The thing to keep in mind though, once you have items on the shop, they will stay on the shop. You just cannot add more once the 3-day pass here. So in return, you are pretty much left to a few steps here. Either by spending real money, might it be for the subscription or to buy the 30 days alone, as well as buying items from the budget that you can then sell to get more money, because as inflation gets higher and higher, that is going to be your best way of income. Or you can go the free-to-play route and pretty much farm up items such as weapon or augment. Think of augments as pretty much just like material from Final Fantasy 14 or 7. Pretty much the same concept here that you can put on your weapons, and you can farm these as well. And that is the main way you're going to be making money as the free-to-play player here. And you can make an okay, decent amount by doing your dailies and whatnot. You're looking at about 1 to 2 million a week by just playing the game as is, and then whatever else you can make within that 3 a day a month cap. But once again, the bigger issue that's going to come here is, of course, going to be inflation and how that actually affect the game. And as we get more and more stuff in the game that require money to actually get your hands on, mainly with the Meseta or in-game money. And of course, the best way to get that money is still just going to be straight up buying AC items through the banner. So as you can see, it's not 100% paying for power, but as time moves on, stuff gonna get expensive, and then at that point, you will have a choice of upgrading your equipment for a core content that may or may not any require that upgrade, or you playing the game for the cosmetic and the character customization, which in return with the items, any if you're not buying it with real money through the banner and just buying the item outright from the player shop, is gonna get so expensive in the next few years, if not already, that a lot of items are gonna become very hard to get your hands on, because at the time of this video, a lot of the cosmetic stuff outside of a very select few items are very much tied to the banners, so don't expect to be farming them out of any means. They might show up in, of course, the battle passes, but there is no guarantee. So if you are someone who gonna get invested into a New Genesis and try your best as far of getting the most out of it, might it be the outfit or the weapons, it might be a little iffy, especially when it comes to the weapons, since we haven't talked about that yet, which is, of course, the item drops in PSO is horrible at the time of the video because the percentage is extremely low. You can quote you item that will give you a higher chance to get said item that you are hunting for, but that did not actually change the drop rate on the item, just equal more items, which also translate to just more junk items. So a lot of time and a lot of people, I'm not the only one, who have had the issue of trying to get a very specific weapon or armor for our character, and literally after farming the item for hundreds of hours, never getting our hands on it, and just caving and buying it at the player shop. And of course, as you can imagine, when the players have more money, especially the people spending real money to get the in-game money, that is just going to make that harder to come by. And in return, if for whatever reason Sega decide to actually make the game more challenging or add higher end content than we have right now, there might be a lot of bottlenecks in our future. So, like I said, PSO New Genesis is pay to win in a certain way, but there are a few caveats here and there that don't make it so bad. But the thing is, them caveats can only last for so long. So overall, it could be one of them cases just like bait PSO. Well, in another year or two, it could be so out of hand that new players are just gonna have a horrible time trying to get no equipment without Sega fit the drop rate. Or if the player enjoy more the social aspect and more of the character creation side of it, a lot of stuff is just not going to be available to them. So overall, that is my opinion of some of the issues as far of pay to win being in PSO. As you can tell, it's not as straight laced as the Tower Fantasy or Genshin. You are not directly buying power, but the stuff you are buying and spending your money on is gonna affect everything long term. And I really hope this is something that Sega will get worked out and plan on to make this nowhere near as bad as we have seen it get in the base game. But only time will tell on that. And that is just my thoughts on the whole pay-to-win situation. And for anyone coming in from the PS4 version, something to keep in mind here. Don't worry, overall, the game is still great, it's still fun. It's just one of them cases of be warned, at a certain point, there will be a war. Might it be financial, or might it be content-wise, because PSO have a whole nother issue when it comes to like content stuff. But do not let that turn you away. There is still a good 30 to 100 hours of very good content here. It just, once you get past that point, things start getting a little more shakier and you start seeing more of the cracks. But it still worth your time for the bit of content we have there. That is great. But as you can see, go into it as you will. Who knows? Maybe it won't affect you. If you are someone who do not mind farming for hundreds and hundreds of hours to get your hands on a weapon or armor or augment. Or maybe you find making a little bit of money on the side by saving up a whole bunch of items to sell during your 3 free days that you get through the 3-day pass. Maybe that will be a good way for you to keep up. But overall, that's just my thought. Let me know in the comment below how exactly you are feeling about all this. And of course, with that, I do want to give a giant thank you once again to everybody that is supporting over on patreon.com/Maconn and subscribing over on twitch.tv/TroyMaconn. Thank you, my dudes. And of course, if you do want to support on any other platform, or maybe just hit the memberships here, I will have links in the description to everything below. And with that, that's going to go ahead and do it for me. And I will see you in the comments.